It's finale week for Survivor Season 48, but before we get there, let's get you caught up on the latest happenings. Okay, so before we get into the challenges of this episode, we kind of once again see this idea resurfacing for the third or fourth episode in a row, that the people on the bottom, Camilla and Mitch, and then kind of Kyle as well, are kind of like, okay, now's the time to strike. We have to get Joe out. There's 6 people left. Yeah, and here's my frustrations with that. I'm like, why is now the opportune time, though, when you had more numbers last week and the week before and a week before that?
Mitch was like, I've been waiting for the final 6 to make a move. It's like, why were you waiting, though? You had the numbers last week. Yeah. You could have gotten somebody out that you was a threat, but you waited. How is 6 better? Because now you're more even 3-3.
I have to say, just overall, Mitch has become a little bit of a, actually not a little bit, Mitch has become a disappointing player to me because I love his story and I love how he played the first half of the game. He was kind of well aligned and then he found himself at the bottom. But I just feel like every week it's this talk of like, I just am waiting for this moment to strike. And it's like, no, this is Survivor. You strike while the iron's hot. Right. Like, I don't understand why so many of these players are like sitting around waiting for the moment to go after the big dogs in the game. It makes no sense to me. But Kyle and Camilla do kind of jump back on this idea together of like, maybe we should get him out. And the only reason I can believe this a little bit is because Kyle has been very like pro Joe this entire time and pro that alliance. So we'll see what happens. So we get into this episode's reward challenge. And I loved this, but part of me kind of wishes this would have been the immunity challenge instead, just because I think it's more fun. I don't know. But anyway, so it's kind of like this slide challenge where they were basically like, standing on these, or they had to sit on these diagonal apparatuses that were over the water, and essentially you just had to hold your weight. But also, it was like a monsoon out there while they were doing this.
Yeah, it was really stormy.
So I'm like, that would have been really hard. What was interesting about this is, kind of no shocker here, Camilla and Mitch both fall pretty quickly, and then comes down Eva. Right after Eva, then Joe goes, and then it comes down to Kyle and Shaheen. I was really hoping Kyle would pull it out, but it's just a reward challenge, so I was okay regardless. But Shaheen does end up winning this reward.
Yeah, I felt like, and I told you this earlier, that once Eva went out and she accidentally put her legs up when she wasn't supposed to, that it felt like Joe just gave up at that point. It just felt like he let go intentionally. Now, it might not be like that, but that's just how it came across in my opinion.
Yeah. I also, another observation I had, and this, honestly, out there, you may totally disagree with me, and this could be an unpopular opinion, and I'm okay with that. But I also kind of felt like in the moment, I think she knew she wasn't supposed to put her legs up, and I don't even know that it was an accident. I think she did it and was just hoping they wouldn't say anything, because I feel like Eva's been getting off very easy this entire season. And so I was like, I don't know. I'm not saying she, like, out of her way was like, let me just lift up my legs if they say anything, but I don't know that she played very, like, oh, I didn't even realize, okay. You know, like, I'm like, I don't know if that was the situation.
Interesting.
But I don't know. So this was a big reward because every season, they used to do in kind of old school Survivor, or pre-41 anyway, they used to do this big family visit every year once you made it to a certain point. Now they just do letters from home. So Jeff announces that on this reward, there will be letters from home and then food, of course. So Shaheen picks Kyle and Joe to go with him.
I mean, which, not too surprising.
Not shocking. And honestly, I can understand his reasonings. Joe, I think, is maybe the only one on the cast that has children. And he really wanted to hear from his kids. And then Kyle is getting married soon, so Shaheen felt like he deserved to hear from his fiance and the rest of his family. So I can appreciate that. Shaheen got a really nice letter from his mom and was like really, really thankful for that. So it was kind of a nice reward to
I didn't even think about it till right now. We heard a little bit of Joe and Shaheen's letter. I don't even think we heard anything from Kyle's.
I don't think so either. I do have to say, Joe's was really sweet. He got a letter from his son, and it like you could just tell it was what Joe needed to keep going, and I can really appreciate that. This
episode really showed Joe more in a different light than what we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, and you can see, this was the episode, right? Or am I making this up? Where Joe was like, there was a lot about his sister the entire time, because 6 is a very kind of symbolic number for him and his relationship with his sister, and so this was a big deal for him. But I liked seeing that side of Joe. And I even told Charlie after I watched the episode, I was like, ooh, I'm kind of liking Joe again. So I never disliked Joe. There's just certain things I wish he would have done it a little differently about his game.
Agreed.
But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So then we head into this episode's immunity challenge. And this was like a really kind of wild obstacle course that had a lot of different elements to it. So it started with like, you had to throw this thing up in the air to get your ball or rope down.
It was like rope, yeah.
Yeah, and then you had to throw that at this big like Y-looking like apparatus thing, get that, pull yourself over on a barrel. Then you had to run through like
net.
a muddy net kind of, maybe not mud,
it was
but
sandy,
a sandy net. And then at the end, you run up and do your puzzle that has the 2 balls in it. But it was kind of interesting. I call it a snake puzzle. I don't know what the technical term is, but essentially you have like a stick you're holding onto that's got the ball that you're balancing, and you have to make your way through this kind of snake
a little
maze.
snake obstacle course.
Yeah, and then you had to land 2 balls accurately. But here's what's interesting is, honestly, to me, there was not a front runner in this challenge until the very end. It was very close. Like the whole time I was like, ooh, I love challenges like this because I don't know who's going to take it. Like every couple seconds I was like, ooh, it's going to be this person. It's going to be this person.
Keeps you on your toes.
Yes. Ended up being Joe. Shocker. Surprise, surprise. I believe they said this was his 4th immunity win.
Yeah.
Which is insane. And there's still a couple immunity challenges left this season, so he could, break records and keep going. So then we head back to the beach. Now we're at the pre-tribal stage of the episode. Here's what was interesting. Kyle and Camilla are doubling down. They obviously cannot take out Joe because Joe just won immunity, but they kind of are hopping this idea of like, okay, what if we get out someone close to Joe? Now, in a complete surprise, in my opinion, he ends up saying like, I think we should go after Shaheen. And I don't really understand, and you said this to me and all of Twitter agreed with us, I don't understand why if we're going after Joe and trying to weaken Joe's stance in the game, why are we not going after Eva? Because here's the thing. Eva is so comfortable in this game that even though she has this arsenal of advantages that has been a huge talking point this season, Eva's cocky enough that I really don't think she would ever play them unless she genuinely felt like, okay, this is it. But on this specific episode, I don't think that would have ever registered in her mind.
And if you really wanted to make a hit, you take out Joe's right-hand man, basically. Because Shaheen, yes, they were close, but not as close as Joe and Eva. Joe and Eva are like this.
Absolutely. And so then it's interesting, though, because so then Kyle and Camilla make this huge kind of strategic plan of like, okay, how do we get Joe and Eva to turn against Shaheen, essentially? So they do this crazy thing where they basically just plant all these lies with Joe and Eva. And I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And Kyle and Camilla are like, I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll see. So then Joe even ends up confronting Shaheen about all the things that Kyle and Camilla tell him. And they get in a big heated argument. Joe's like, I don't know. I just don't know if I can trust you. And Shaheen's like, that's crazy because I've done nothing but proving my trust to you all season long. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is getting kind of spicy. And at the end of the day, Shaheen is a good player, so I'm like, it is a good move still to go after him. I just think if we're going with the specific motive of weakening Joe, Eva made more sense.
Absolutely.
So then we head into a tribal council, and it was interesting because I love when it gets down to the like the nitty gritty here, because I just feel like everyone keeps everything very close to the vest and no one wants to reveal their cards. So nothing was like overly shared, I feel like this time.
It's kind of a boring council.
It was a more boring tribal council for sure. But surprisingly, Shaheen does go home. He gets voted out, blindsided by Kyle and Camilla.
But here's the thing, Camilla didn't even vote for Shaheen.
That's true.
Which I was surprised by. She voted for Mitch, so Mitch had 2 of the votes.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So, I mean, it made sense that he would have 1 vote. Shaheen
But he did
voted.
turn Joe and Eva, which is crazy. I forgot about that. And I'm still trying to figure out why.
Why Shaheen? Or why she voted for...
Why Shaheen voted for... or why Camilla voted for Mitch.
Yeah, I wondered that
I'm like, I don't know. I'm hoping there's like a flashback scene we see in this next episode, because I'm like, I don't know if it was like they felt maybe like if Shaheen had something, then Mitch would be the next one out if she voted for him. Or I don't know if it was like somehow her voting Mitch would show like that she was less in the know with Kyle because they've been trying to like hide their relationship all season.
That would make more sense because
I don't know.
If Shaheen had something, Mitch had the 1 vote, he would have gone anyways, you know? So.
Or also maybe Camilla did it to stir up more drama of like, you know, like maybe she's gonna say like, you know, Eva voted out Mitch or something. Like, I don't know, like really try to throw things off. I mean, I really hope there's an explanation to that though, and I doubt there will be, but I hope so. Okay, so as I said, this next episode is the finale. So we've got our final 5. So we've got Kyle, Camilla, Mitch, Joe, and Eva. So the way this will play out is there'll be the final 5 immunity challenge, the last normal tribal council of the season. Then we'll go down to our final 4. The final immunity challenge of the season, then that person will decide who goes to the infamous fire making challenge. 1 person will be eliminated, whoever loses the fire making, and then of course our final 3 will be in our final tribal council, voting for the winner. I'm assuming, I haven't heard anything different, so I'm assuming that it will be how it's been in the new era where we have the live kind of after show, or not live, I'm sorry, but immediate after show that's not live that they record out on the island. But semi-breaking news that came out last night in a very hidden way via social media. Rumor has it, through the Survivor Instagram and hidden kind of post, that the Survivor 50 cast, which is the all-returner season for the first time in the new era, 2 seasons from now, will be revealed apparently in tomorrow night's finale.
Ooh, I saw some leaks, like not leaks, but rumors of who was going to be in the cast.
There's lots of rumored lists.
I was kind of surprised. In the one I saw, no confirmation whatsoever. Yeah. Joe was actually on the list.
Yep, yeah.
And I was like, interesting, okay.
I know, there's a lot of rumored kind of supposed leaked casts out there. So I don't know. I kind of feel like this is Survivor's way of being like, well, one, I think they're trying to build excitement around 50.
Absolutely.
It's a big season. It's the first all-returner season. There's a lot of very big old school Survivor names rumored to be on the cast. This is the first time you're combining, pre-40 and post kind of COVID, post-new era.
Yeah, that's true.
Contestants together. You've also got people that have, you're going to have people that have played 26 days and most people have played 39 days. So it'll be interesting to see what days they decide upon. So anyway, I'm very interested to see how they do that. And some people are like, what if they announce that live? That would be interesting. Like if there's maybe not because the finale I'm sure was already shot, but maybe they like dip to a live part or something in LA after and fly them out. I don't know. There's a lot that could happen because I do know for a fact also season 49 wrapped filming. I think it was earlier this week or the last week. I can't remember. And that will be out this fall, of course. So anyway, that is it. We'll be back with the Survivor finale recap, but make sure you tune in. Survivor finale, Wednesday, CBS. Do not miss it.